If you're looking to buy a new Baofeng radio, you'll see there are many models to choose from. But which ones are actually good? In this video, we show you the 5 best Baofeng and BTECH radios in different categories, like analog ham radios, MURS, GMRS, DMR, and more. We also explain the important updates, such as better build quality, USB-C charging, wider frequency coverage, and new firmware, so you can pick the radio that suits you best. You can check the latest prices and availability in the description. Let's begin. First, our choice for the best analog ham radio is the Baofeng BF-F8HP Pro. Right when you turn on the BF-F8HP Pro, it's clear that this radio is a big step up from the older BF-F8HP. One of the biggest improvements is that it supports 3 frequency bands: 70 centimeters, 1.25 meters, 220 megahertz, and 2 meters. The addition of the 1.25 meter band is great if you want more options, especially for using local repeaters. Another upgrade is the built-in GPS, which replaces the flashlight from the older model. While some might miss having a flashlight, the GPS lets you share your location with saved contacts, which is really useful for group trips or emergency situations. When it comes to performance, the Pro version really delivers. Baofeng says it puts out 8 watts on the 70 centimeters and 2 meter bands, and 5 watts on the 1.25 meter band, but in actual use, it goes even higher. It can hit up to 11 watts on 2 meter, about 9 watts on 70 centimeters, and around 5.5 to 5.7 watts on 1.25 meter. That's more power than the older version. The build quality is also better. The radio feels tougher and the battery locks in more securely. It comes with a 2500 mAh battery that charges using USB-C, which is a nice upgrade from the older micro USB or charging docks. It also has IP54 splash and dust protection, so it's good for outdoor use. Just don't dunk it in water. The software features have improved too. You can save up to 1,000 channels and organize them into zones for easier access. This is something the old model didn't have. Plus, the Pro version supports firmware updates, so Baofeng can fix bugs or add features in the future, something the older models couldn't do. Now it's not perfect. One issue is that the harmonic output on the 2 meter band isn't great. It's about 18.9 dBs below the main signal, which might be a problem in areas with strict radio rules. Also, the included antenna is just average, like most Baofeng antennas, so it's worth getting a better one if you want more range. Zone switching could be easier, and yes, there's no flashlight like before. Overall, the BF-F8HP Pro is probably Baofeng's best analog handheld radio so far. With its triband support, extra power, GPS, USB-C charging, and new features, it clearly improves on the old model in just about every way. What's good? Tribe 2 meter, 70 centimeters, 1.25 meters, higher power than advertised. GPS for sharing your location, bigger battery with USB-C charging, zones and firmware update support. What could be better? Harmonics on 2 int could be cleaner. Stock antenna is just okay. No built-in flashlight. Zone switching takes a few extra steps. Next, our pick for the best mobile ham radio is the BTECH UV50X3. BTECH UV50X3 radio gives you a lot of features for the price. It's a triband mobile radio that works on VHF, UHF, and 220 MHz, 1.25 meter, so you get a wide range of frequencies to use. One of the best things about it is the power. It puts out 50 watts on VHF and UHF, but on the 220 MHz band, it only puts out 5 watts, which might not be enough for some people. Still, 5 watts is usually enough to reach local repeaters, so it's not a huge problem. The main body of the radio is tough and well built, with a big heatsink and a fan that turns on only if you're transmitting at high power for a while. On the downside, the microphone and control head feel a little cheap compared to the solid body. If you'll be using it in a rough environment, be careful with those parts so they don't wear out quickly. Programming this radio is easier than with some other Baofeng models. You can use the menu or chirp software. Just note that the programming cable doesn't come with it, and it might cost about $40 more. Once you get the cable, it's much faster to add channels. One cool extra feature is crossband repeat. It basically lets the radio work like 2 radios at once, which is rare for radios in this price range. The The UV50X3 is a lot like the more expensive Yaesu FTM350, just with different software and a much lower price. It may not be as polished as more expensive brands like Yaesu or Kenwood, but it's FCC certified and works well for everyday use. It has a color screen, good sound quality, and dual receivers so you can listen to two bands at once. It also comes with a separation cable and a suction cup mount, so you can place the control head somewhere else if needed, like on your dashboard while the main unit is under the seat or in the trunk. Compared to other radios in the same price range, the UV50X3 stands out because of its triband support and crossband repeat, even if the 220 MHz band is lower power. If you're looking for a full-featured triband radio but don't want to spend a lot, this is a great choice. Pros: works on VHF, UHF, and 220 MHz, has crossband repeat, 50 watts of power on VHF and UHF, easy to program with chirp after you get the cable, strong, well-built main unit with good cooling. Cons: only 5 watts on 220 MHz, mic and control head feel a bit cheap, programming cable is sold separately. Next, for the best handheld GMRS radio, we chose the BTECH GMRS V2. The BTECH GMRS V2 is a reliable and easy-to-use handheld GMRS radio. It's a great choice for outdoor lovers who want something small but powerful. Inside the box, you get everything you need: a charging base, belt clip, earpiece, and a clear manual. Compared to the Baofeng UV9G, the GMRS V2 is a bit thinner and lighter, which makes it easier to carry. Perfect if you're already carrying other gear or want a radio that fits easily in your pocket or bag. The size difference isn't huge, but you'll notice it over time. Turning it on and using the menu is simple. You can turn off the voice and beeps if you prefer quiet operation. It's also easy to program using chirp software, whether you want to add repeaters or adjust channels. This radio puts out about 4.7 watts on high power, which gives it good range, especially in open areas. It has 2 PTT push-to-talk buttons, so you can listen and talk on 2 channels at once. If you don't need that feature, it's easy to turn off. In terms of toughness, it has an IP54 rating, meaning it can handle light dust and splashes. But it's not fully waterproof. Heavy rain can damage the screen. If you often use radios in wet conditions, the Baofeng UV9G might be better since it's waterproof and even cheaper, though it is bigger. Among similar radios, the GMRS V2 stands out because it's comfortable to hold, simple to program, and packed with useful features. The UV9G is cheaper and waterproof, but bulkier. The Baofeng GM15 is about the same size and includes USB-C charging, which the GMRS V2 doesn't have. The Retevis RB27 is easier to use but misses out on features like a keypad. The GMRS V2 comes with 200 programmable channels, dual-channel listening, and clear sound. The latest version is also better out of the box, with the correct frequencies and wideband on GMRS channels, problems that earlier models had. Even though it's not great in heavy rain, it's still a strong option if you want a smaller radio than the UV9G. While there are cheaper radios out there, the GMRS V2 makes up for its price with easy programming, good performance, and handy features. In short, here's what's good and bad. Pros: light and easy to carry, dual-channel listening and talking, easy to program with chirp, simple menu and controls, good range and sound quality, helpful backlit keys and manual. Cons: not waterproof, only splash resistant, a bit more expensive than similar radios. Next, if you want a triband radio, the Baofeng K63 is our best triband ham radio. The Baofeng K63 is a budget-friendly triband ham radio that's getting a lot of attention lately. But is it really a good buy? Let's take a closer look. When you open the box, you get everything you need to get started. There's the K63 radio itself, a 2600 mAh battery, charging dock, antenna, belt clip, earpiece, and a wrist strap. One of the best things is the switch to USB-C charging. It's quicker and easier to charge, and you can use the dock or plug the cable directly into the radio. Great for people who are always on the move. You can pick from 2 colors, military green or bright yellow. The radio feels strong and durable, but it's not too heavy or bulky. If you've used radios like the Baofeng UV5R before, you'll find the buttons and layout very familiar. It also has shortcut buttons you can set up for features like a flashlight, FM radio, alarm, or monitor mode. The manual that comes with it is basic, small print and not very detailed, but it gives you just enough to get started if you've used similar radios before. Now let's talk about how it works. On the VHF band, 144 to 148 megahertz, it puts out close to 6 watts of power, which makes it good for reaching repeaters. But on the UHF band, it's only about 2.8 watts. That's still usable, but you might get a shorter range in places with hills or buildings. One cool feature is the dual watch mode. It lets you listen to 2 channels or frequencies at the same time. Switching between VFO and memory mode is simple and doesn't take much effort. The sound quality is clear when you talk, and reception is pretty good too. But if you want the best range, you might want to buy a better antenna than the one that comes in the box. Another helpful feature is the NOAA Weather Channel. It gives you quick weather updates, which is great if you're outdoors a lot. This is a nice bonus over similar radios like the TYT TH350, which doesn't make weather info easy to access. In short, the Baofeng K63 is a solid choice if you want a good triband radio without spending too much. Just be aware that the UHF signal is weaker, and you'll probably want to upgrade the antenna for better performance. To sum up, here's what I liked: long battery life, fast USB-C charging, easy-to-use menus, strong VHF power, the ability to watch 2 channels at once, and the built-in weather feature. Things I didn't like as much: low UHF power, the antenna could be better, and the manual isn't very beginner-friendly. Lastly, for beginners, we recommend the Baofeng GT5R, which is easy to use and great for starting out. The Baofeng GT5R is one of the easiest radios for beginners to get started with ham radio. It's a dual-band handheld that puts out about 5 watts of power, enough to reach local repeaters and make your first contacts. What makes it different from the older UV5R is that the GT5R is FCC certified, so you know it's approved for use in the US. That makes it a safer choice for newcomers. The tricky part is programming. It can be confusing to set up by hand, and the menus aren't very simple. The good news is that there are lots of videos, guides, and online groups that can help. Once it's programmed, either through the keypad or with software like Chirp, it works well. The sound is clear for local use, the battery lasts a full day, and extras like antennas or spare batteries are cheap and easy to find. As for other options in the same price range, the UV5R costs less but doesn't have FCC approval, which some people don't worry about, but beginners might. The Quansheng UV-K5 is often said to have better audio and sturdier build quality. The Tedradio TDH3 is another option, and it usually comes with a programming cable, which makes setup easier. In short, if you just want something simple, legal, and reliable, the GT5R is the best starting point. If you want to try something a little different, the UV-K5 or TDH3 could be a bit nicer to use without costing much more. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check the description for updated prices, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day!